Sometimes, we convince ourselves that we have to carry the world on our shoulders, that seeking help is a weakness, an admission of failure. But what if this belief is, in fact, the very wall standing between us and our dreams? Today's story is about a young man named David who believed he had to conquer everything alone. But life, as it often does, had other plans for him. Lessons wrapped in hardship, heartbreak, and ultimately, humility. In a quiet little village, nestled among lush green fields and winding rocky roads, lived 23-year-old David. The village was simple, and its people, mostly farmers, lived a life of hard work and quiet contentment. David, however, was different. He was a carpenter, a trade passed down from his late father. His small workshop stood at the village edge, its roof leaking, its walls worn, but it was his father's legacy and his dream's starting point. Every day, David labored tirelessly. He crafted chairs, mended old tables, and handled customers who were more skilled at bargaining than appreciating craftsmanship. His days ended with barely enough money to buy bread, soup, and firewood for the bitter winters. But even in his exhaustion, David's heart burned with ambition. In the quiet moments, he'd sit by his tiny window, gazing at the faraway hills, whispering to himself, "One day, I'll own a grand furniture store. People from faraway lands will come just to buy what I make." Yet reality, ever merciless, seemed determined to crush those dreams. Every coin he saved was quickly devoured by unexpected troubles: a leaking roof, a broken chisel, or worse, a medical bill for his ailing mother. To make things harder, the villagers often mocked his ambitions. "David," sneered a local farmer one day, "you can't even afford decent wood, and yet you dream of a store. Foolish boy." Those words stung deep, but David held on to his dream like a drowning man clings to driftwood. One frosty morning, a traveling merchant named Mr. Aziz walked into David's workshop. Known for his sharp eye and sharper tongue, Mr. Aziz placed before David the largest order he'd ever received, a grand dining table, needed within a week. The pay was generous, the kind of money David had only dared to dream of. It was his golden opportunity. At first, David attacked the project with ferocious determination, but by the third day, his stock of wood ran out. To his dismay, the local supplier had doubled prices due to the winter surge. With his modest funds, David could only afford half the wood needed. "I can't ask Mr. Aziz for more money," he thought grimly. He tried to borrow from Wed, a notorious village moneylender, but was met with ridicule and a slammed door. "Is this the end of my dream? Should I just sell the workshop and accept my fate?" That night, David sat on an old creaky bench, staring at the meager coins left on his work table. Doubt gnawed at him. Was he simply greedy, foolish, chasing shadows? Then, a memory floated back, his mother's gentle voice. "David, every great thing starts with a small step. Don't be afraid to keep going, even when it's hard." Those words lit a spark within him. The next morning, fueled by stubborn hope, David made a daring decision. He gathered a few of his handmade folding chairs and journeyed to the bustling city market. It was a desperate gamble. If he failed to sell them, he wouldn't even have enough money to return home. He set up a modest stall in a noisy corner. At first, people passed him by, uninterested. Doubt crept in, whispering cruel thoughts. But around noon, fortune smiled. A wealthy lady stopped by, charmed by the craftsmanship of his chairs. She bought them all. Overwhelmed with gratitude, David used the money to buy the remaining wood and rushed back to the village. He completed the dining table on time. Mr. Aziz was thoroughly impressed. "You have a rare talent, young man," he told David. "Never give up on your dreams." Word of David's skill spread like wildfire. Orders flooded in from nearby towns and villages, Then, as if fate wished to test him further, an even bigger opportunity arrived. A city businessman placed an order for 10 grand dining tables, all to be delivered within a month. The payment was beyond anything David had ever imagined. But so were the challenges. Tight deadlines, expensive high-grade wood, no assistance, and a workshop barely big enough to fit 1 table, let alone 10. But David, driven by hunger for success, accepted. He devised a grueling plan, work from dawn till midnight, with barely a break. But the money for the wood remained an obstacle. In a heartbreaking decision, David sold his most treasured possession, his late father's gold watch. As the jeweler handed him the money, tears blurred David's vision. But he swallowed his pain, knowing that sometimes sacrifices pave the road to greatness. He bought the finest wood and worked like a man possessed. Meals were skipped, sleep abandoned. His hands cracked, his back ached, and still he pressed on. "David, you'll make yourself sick," warned the villagers. But their words fell on deaf ears. As the deadline neared, disaster struck. One of the tables cracked due to a hidden flaw in the wood. Crushed, David sat among the shavings and broken dreams, his head in his hands. That's when his mother entered the shop. Seeing her son, worn and hollow-eyed, she placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Son, dreams are important, but so are you. What's the point of reaching the top if you lose yourself along the way?" David fought back tears. "I just want to prove that I can do this, Mom, that we can escape this poverty." She smiled softly. "You've already proven more than enough. Your hard work, your dedication, they speak louder than any table you'll ever make. But let me tell you something, David. Life isn't meant to be carried alone. Asking for help isn't weakness, it's wisdom. If you open your heart and ask the villagers, they will stand by you. They will be proud to help." Those words struck David to his core. That night, for the first time, he swallowed his pride and approached the villagers, humbly asking for their help. To his surprise, they came without hesitation. Together, they worked side by side, completing the impossible task. When the businessman saw the finished tables, he was overjoyed and paid David every promised coin. With that, David expanded his shop, bought new tools, and hired young men from the village, offering them the chance to build a better life. But the greatest treasure David earned wasn't wealth or reputation. It was a lesson etched deep in his soul, that chasing your dreams requires more than hard work and sacrifice. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to ask for help, because in unity, we find strength, and in balance, we find joy. Did you enjoy the story? Let us know in the comments. For more inspiring tales like this, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.